Guru Pyari Sath Sangat Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. First and foremost, I must express my deep anguish and sadness and support to you to deliberate how we must salvage ourselves from this impasse that confronts us through the events in France. I just cannot believe that a country like France, a liberated, progressive country, the country of Lacan, the country of Sartre, has done this to an absolutely non-violent community. A people of an impeccable record. They're not complicit. They've never been known to do any misdemeanor collectively or individually. They have a fantastic record. They have enriched the space of each and every country which they have adopted as their own. So right now the options before us are very limited, and I'm sure that all of you, through counseling, through confabulation, will come up with some insightful answers. To me, all the non-violent options, direct action, sit-ins, marches, diplomacy, I think they are firmly on the table. If they don't work, then we must up the ante, which to me seems to be a boycott. If it has to be an economic boycott, even if it is a token protest. I mean, France is much bigger than the Sikhs. But I guess if that's the language that they understand, then we must speak that language. However, it just seems to me that any lasting solution to this crisis cannot simply come from Sikhs asking for the right to wear turban, an article of their outer experience, without talking how to salvage ourselves, our inner reality, from complicity in a global system that binds us to ever more denuding of the biosphere, desertification of this once green planet. I think in developing a response to this crisis or various crises which confront us, not just as members of religion, but I guess members of humanity, members of this great assembly of species, and also as inhabitants of a biosphere, how we are interconnected to each other. I think we must think fast, and we must think now. Somehow the strategy to me seems to be revive the defunct institutions of the Sikhs, which happen to be Gurmata, Sarbat Khalsa, all the institutions of direct democracy, actually, because that is the only system which empowers a common man, which empowers all of us. Let's examine one causal change. In 1950s, Punjab is asked to grow high yield varieties, and 40 years of that process brings us to today, where according to a government paper, 70% of all Punjab is water critical, all the rivers are dammed, all the forests are gone, the Malwa region of the Bathinda region and all of that has the highest incidence of cancer, which is directly traceable to the use of pesticides. So what we see is a land, a people getting ravaged by an ever more commercial exploitation of their biosphere, of their natural resources. And what has led that, or what has allowed that to happen? It is our system of indirect democracy. When you talk to a normal person on the street and you ask him, did you authorize all of this? And they say, no, not in my name. But they do not even know what's happened in their name. I think the way to circumvent this had been beautifully designed by the 10th Guru, which was Gurmata, which was Sarbat Khalsa, which was consensus, personal vote. I think we have become very used to this cult of personality. We have become, we cannot function without it. I think that needs to stop. I think leadership, if anything, needs to be reduced. The scope of leadership can have a presiding role, but it cannot have an absolute authoritative role. And if that is what we want, then I guess then it's all over. So I come back to our problems right now. I think I've already said what I feel about it. I think all non-violent options of direct action should be placed firmly on the table. And at the same time, we need to really start working towards making our defunct institutions functional again. Because without it, France will happen many times over, again and again and again. So I guess I've spoken my bit, and I'll take a leave now. All the very best. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.